In today's program, we're going to talk about the killing of 21 able young men from Biafra land by the Nigerian police. Today, I have with me Mazi, Emeka, Andy Duru, barrister Andy Duru, actually. So, and I have him here because he is an ardent Biafran. He's a zealous Biafran. And I think he is also, at the same time, he is also a legal practitioner that understands what it means when we are talking about human rights issues. So I think he would be the best person to discuss this issue, because the life lost is not just about life loss, it's also about the lack of sense of human rights in the so-called Nigeria, in the contraption called Nigeria. So, welcome to the program, Mazi, Andy, and Emeka Duru.
Okay, thank you very much.
So, the question is, as I've said earlier, what is actually the offense of these young men? Why do they have to be killed? Why do they have to die? We understand that these young men are in a kind of a closure, a prayer section that actually doesn't warrant. They have no, they didn't do anything wrong. They have not exhibited any kind of threat. They didn't pose threat to the society. They did nothing as such that will warrant their death. And essentially the Nigerian police went in there and started shooting so that some of these guys were killed in the process. I don't have the full details of the circumstance, so I don't know. Do you have a kind of historical background of this issue? What happened? What transpired before they were before the Nigerian police started shooting?
Okay. Thank you for having me here. Honestly, I am not in a very good state of mind. Having been part of those who have witnessed this carnage from the Nigerian government. Let me not use that derogatory statement, calling them zoo. I choose to be a little bit refined in my statement, but I am completely out of it. The truth of the matter is, we should be able to go back to history, even though history is being denied of so many denied us, and they themselves over there in that contraption called Nigeria. I was once there. I practiced as a lawyer there for so many years, and I know what we go through in the hand of police. I know very well when you go to the police station to bail your clients and what comes out of it, and the kind of tricks and the kind of things you get when you are dealing with an average policeman is a system that is built on a very serious faulty foundation that needed to be completely abrogated, that needed to completely be wiped out and be reformed. They've been talking about reforms and nothing has been going on. They talk this, they talk that. At the end of the day, none can they possibly say they have achieved. Actually, what happened from the videos flying all around the world, we have seen that these young men were in an enclosure having a prayer section. I am sure nobody actually saw them outside protesting. When you say protest, these people also have the fundamental right. They have the right to protest, even if it is called a protest. But then, in an enclosure praying, the next you heard is police out of a tip coming to a place where a group of people, they perceived persona non grata where they were, and they came and they started shooting sporadically. And now, from the statement you made, asserting the fact that the police commissioner, I don't know what his name is it Adamu or so, claiming that there was a gun rift between the IPOB and the police. This has been a lie from the pit of hell. A lie, a complete lie from the pit of hell. Anybody who is living even in Nigeria and outside of the Nigeria knows very well, who had ever had any encounter with Nigerian police, know very well that these people are as dirty as the pig. I'm sorry to say this.
Right. I mean, the word dirty is probably the right word at this stage, because I don't know if you had watched closely. I mean, the tone of the Commission of Police. I mean, like I've said before, it appears that he apparently that his aim is quite just to demean the Biafrans, because he just paraded those young men and on handcuff, and some of them doesn't seem to be responsive to his question. It's as though those questions he threw to one of these guys, didn't we find you in the ceiling? It's like the guy just have to say yes. I mean, it doesn't look as though the guy is saying what happened. Before we continue, I want viewers to see the clip that we're talking about.
I received a distress call that members of the indigenous peoples of Biafra were on rampage along Ebonyi Enugu Express Road by MNA precisely, firing sporadically on the air and at the same time burning fire on the road. And quickly I mobilized my men from 3 police mobile force squadron, anti-kidnapping unit, SAS, anti-cultism, and all of them under the leadership of my area commander Metro, Assistant Commissioner of Police, Shei. They all went there. Immediately they arrived at the scene, they came under heavy fire of the IPOB hoodlums. So the men from Garrison Command H2 Div were at hand. Men from Air Force Base under the leadership of the Air Force Base Commander Air Commodore Ebere were all there. So that was how we cordoned the area. These are the people, the 3 of them, that took the people hostage, and precisely this one was telling his members that gun will not touch them, let them continue to fire at the police and the soldiers. So we got them arrested and freed the inmates. While these 2, there were those that went into hiding after the first encounter. We traced the blood, and then we got this one inside. These ones inside. We freed the people, but these ones, they went to another house where policemen were, and they held them hostage. We got them through. One of them, who is it you that we got in the ceiling? You. This one, we got him in the ceiling. He hit himself.
Good. So now that we have watched this scene, it is very interesting to emphasize on the fact that there are a lot of guys out there, those who are actually going against Mazi Nnamdi Kanu's agitation for Biafra. They have been saying that the death of this young man, that Nnamdi Kanu is responsible for it because of his divisive way, his divisive approach, and believe that because these young men have been following Nnamdi Kanu, I mean, they essentially get themselves in trouble because they are agitating for Biafra as well. But I don't know what you think about it. I would like to know, is it a problem the cause of the death of this young man? Is it because they are agitating for Biafra, or do you think that whether they agitate for Biafra or not, as Biafrans, you still have to face such a fate? I mean, you are liable of being maltreated by Nigerian police or killed in the north. I mean, this is not going to be the first time the Biafrans are killed. You know, if you can take it back to the history of the Kanu riots and so on, Biafra has been killed, whether they are agitating for Biafra or not. So it is quite interesting to hear people like Ijere. I don't know if I should mention his name here, or other antagonists of Nnamdi Kanu who believe that the agitation for Biafra is always a problem, and anybody that dies in the process, Nnamdi Kanu should be held responsible for it. So, what do you think?
Okay, on the issue that has to, let me start from, because there's this name you mentioned here, and I just started having a running stomach. The name, they used to call him Udele or whatever, and all that. Chukwuka, one inconsequential Chukwuka that stays in Turkey, always ranting and talking nonsense. This is somebody who doesn't have a pedigree. This is somebody who doesn't have a background. This is somebody whose character is questionable. You can refer to 1001 persons that have lived with him right from the days, even in Onitsha, like the story is here and there. You can always find out about him. So he does not have a local standard to talk about this. But for the purpose of clarity, let me use an analogy to portray this point and to kill it once and for all, saying the death of the young men or the death of Biafrans that died is on the head of Nnamdi Kanu and all that. Well, if you put it that way, there is a saying: you must, if you die for what you believe, you've died a just death. It is better to die for what you believe than to die for nothing. Dying for what you believe, those who are agitating for their freedom, also as enshrined under the international laws and so many other laws as prescribed, and they unfortunately meet the hand of a bullet from the Nigerian government or Nigerian police and the rest of them. These people died for a noble cause.
Yeah, excuse me, sorry for interrupting. That's essentially where I want to understand. So it is part of Nigerian law to demonstrate and to agitate for what you believe. So there is nothing wrong that group of people gather together.
It is not even only.
So it's part of.
It's not even only.
It's part of the constitutional
right. Yeah, it's not only a constitutional right of Nigeria, but an international.
Okay.
Right.
Okay. So
of freedom, right to agitate, right to demand for freedom is an international law, and everybody knows it. Everybody knows it. Even right today, as I went to Amtsgericht, it's called our local court here,
yes,
for filing some documents, I saw two men there with a placard right in front of the court. They were there agitating that the way the court is handling certain matters here, that they don't want it, and that they want the court to change it, and they want the state to induce the court to change their format.
Now, I basically asked you this question because I also would like to mention that the issue of agitation or people agitating for whatsoever they believe for, in as much as they are not involved in any type of violence, that I don't know, I'm not a lawyer, but from a philosophical point of view, there are many philosophers that have stated this as an essence of life. I mean, to agitate actually means that you are living, that you are alive, as in opposition to those that are adamant, to those that are reluctant, to those that are yes, if you will, that are not aware of their own very problem. So agitation is, so to say, an act of expressing this sense of being alive. You know what I'm saying? It is a kind of Dionysus, as in opposition to Apollonius. These two Greek gods. One is the god of war, and one is the god of peace. You essentially need both characters, both elements in a human being for this person to be a complete human being. And if you are just sitting down, or if you just sit down and watch the future as it unfolds itself, it doesn't really necessarily make you a human being. So, in essence, you have a lot of people in Nigeria who are not aware of their problem, who are not fighting to change it, and the Biafrans seems to be the only one that is still alive. The rest are what you can call zombie. You find it in Fela music, which says suffering and smiling. It's a good analogy to explain what I'm trying to say right now. And you also find such idea in the music of Osita. I think that's Osita Osadebe that says Anyi nwere ebu nwe mfu. Ebu is this type of aggressive beat that is very aggressive. The other one is not aggressive. So it complies with the sense of Dionysus and Apollonisis. So the issue is that like you have said, Biafrans who agitate for their freedom are not only carrying out their constitutional right, but expressing the sense that they are alive, as opposed to those from the mainstream medias that when you ask them, they call them miscreants. And this is essentially the word the Commissioner of Police used to describe those guys. He called them miscreants because they are agitating for their freedom. That's why they should be called miscreants. And those who are not even aware of their problem, who seems to be unconscious of what is their problem, are not miscreants. It's interesting to see the type of thing that is going on in the country called Nigeria. However, let me just take you to another discussion. How do you feel about the life in Germany? I mean, as a lawyer that knows everything about Nigerian law, and you just happens to find yourself in this country, you become part of the system. You understand how the system functions, and you would like to see your country, Biafra, yet to come, have a similar way of a system, a place where there is respect for human rights, for women's rights, where people recognize that child abuse is punishable. You know, those things, you don't have it currently in the contraption called Nigeria. I would like to know, do you think that if Biafra comes, that those things can be implemented? I mean, I'm saying this because the mentality of the people you have in a place called Nigeria and Biafra, I mean, sometimes it's difficult to differentiate, because although Biafrans are unique people, yet they are contaminated already with Nigerians. So,
well, please, for the purpose of thorough definition and better understanding, I would want to, on a very low key right now, explain what is the meaning of agitation. You see, this agitation, when you say agitation or the word protest, when you let me use the word agitation, what do you mean by agitation? You see, the right to agitate is embedded in every human existence, in every human being. If you take a statistic about agitation, you will understand, even in a home where you have a father and a mother and children, 1, 2, 3 children and other, sometimes what they don't want, they bring it about before their father. There are some who cannot even expressly talk to their father. But what do? They go agitating. They go agitating. You see them, trying to put up some protest, put up some kind of attitude. What does that attitude shows? It's a protest. It's an agitation. They are trying to bring the attention of their father to a particular thing they actually wanted, but they are not getting. That is agitation. The Bible, which you and I want to believe as Christians believe in, the issue that has to do with Jacob. When Jacob was in the bush wandering, there's something the Bible scholars said about Jacob. He said, this burden, you will carry this burden. You will continue to carry this burden. Or not until the very day you will recognize the fact and the essence of this burden you are carrying. And when you grow restless, about when you become aware. One thing is awareness. Another thing is you no longer want it. You want a change of situation, a change of situation. Then that brings about the call for what? Agitation. Until the very day you grow restless. Why do people agitate? How do people protest? They become restless. They grow restless over a situation. Until the very day you grow restless, then you shall call up, you shall protest, you shall speak out, you shall voice out. And when you voice out, then your voice, God will hear you and your deliverance will come. And that was actually what happened in the Bible with Jacob. The very day he grew restless and he no longer wants to carry the burden of what he has done. Immediately he stood up from a little sleepy nosy. What do they mean by waking up from that sleepy nosy? He became conscious and aware of his problems and of his situation. Immediately, lo and behold, he sees somebody there. He sees that person as God. He sees that person as a Messiah. He sees that person as a forerunner for God. What did he do? He held onto him. And even when the person, after the interactions, want to go, he said, no. Today, like we usually say, we die here. You must set me free. Today, if I am not free today, we die here. What happened? And whether we call it the angel or whatever, Rasul, sorry, just a second.
Yes, you were
Rasul
let me just interrupt you a bit. So, for reason of clarity, you are seeing the issue of agitation from a biblical, religious point of view, if you will, and you're trying to say that
I have just given it
yes,
morally.
Yes.
What I'm trying to explain right now is religiously.
Yes. Because I want to ask you this question because we have a lot of circumstances in the so-called contraction called Nigeria, whereby the priests, okay, who are essentially supposed to be leading the agitation, are not doing that. In fact, they are criticizing those, I don't want to call anybody's name right now, but you do know what I'm saying, that a lot of priests out there who claim to be the champion of religion, who are supposed to be in the forefront of the Biafran agitation, as it was, because you mentioned the Bible, I would state that Moses led the children of Israelites out of Egypt because you understand the essence of agitation. Okay? We are talking about the Bible. So I just want to mention it, that those who are essentially supposed to be involved, directly involved in the agitation in the Christian way, because now, as we've said it is also not just a natural thing as well as such, but also a religious thing. So it is enshrined in the Bible that agitation should take place.
Of course, it is here and for everyone to see. You know, like the issue of the Jacob I was talking, Jacob was wounded, meaning so many other people, even in the course of the agitation for freedom of Biafra, so many are losing their lives. Jacob got wounded. Did that deter him from his pursuit? The answer is no, until he got what he wanted. That's where we Christians got the song, I will never leave you unless you bless me. What does that word supposed to mean? You know, now when you talk about the priests or the people, like when we talk about our leaders and rest of them, those who are supposed to
be in the forefront,
in the forefront for the agitation,
to lead the Biafrans out of the land,
being docile and all that. Of course, it can be understood. There are in life we have docile member in everything. There are people who will always want to go. There are people who we say, let us go. If it is not us, they will not go. There are people, whether you must drag them along. There are people, whether you drag them along or not, they wouldn't want to. They won't lift a finger to take an act.
What I would like to know though is, why is it that these guys, this group of people who are supposed to be in the forefront of this agitation, from the Christian point of view, from the religious point of view, because they understand the Bible, Why is it that they are so weak or so they are not willing to join the agitation? Because I think it would have been more effective if you find some priests, you know, who have a lot of groups, about 40,000, 50,000, or even 100,000 members that they have in their congregation. They talk to their promise, they tell them about how God is going to solve their problem in the next 2 weeks, the next 4 weeks, and yet they never let these people to get to understand that God cannot solve your problem if you are not directly involved in it. And from my point of view, I think that the issue of Biafra should be seen as one serious way of achieving or ending the plight of the Biafrans, that, or the plight of the so-called black man that has been existing up to 500 years since the time of slavery. Black man has never found himself, and the problem in which a Biafran finds himself is just the continuity of the slave trade, of the colonization. So it surprised me that people of that caliber are not involved in this issue. Or does it mean they don't understand the Bible themselves?
They did. Actually, what is there is so many things play out. One is fear. Fear of losing their wealth, their earthly acquisitions. You can rightly see it these days that majority of our so-called men of God and pastors and the rest of them, everybody is striving towards having a private jet. Everybody is striving towards building up a private school where he'll be making money and the rest of them. And majority of them are so afraid of losing whatever they have. And they are not ready to take a step because they feel that the whole of these things may actually come to lead to war or to a kind of pandemonium that people may likely not be able to control. And this is the reason why. But they have failed to forget that the Turkey we are talking about was in so many years, either thousands or hundreds of years, a complete 98% Christian nation. And today, it is 99, almost if not 0.9% Muslim nation. This same thing that is playing out in Nigeria today was what played out in Turkey. Uthman Dan Folio and his gangs, what they did. But the most surprising aspect of the whole of this issue is the Fulani is coming and being aided by the British people.
Sorry for interruption, so that we don't mix up everything. The Uthman Dan Folio has nothing to do with Turkey, you know. It's about the Fulani. The Turkian leader was Uthman by name, but he has nothing to do with Uthman Dan Folio.
That's what
you know what you're saying.
Yeah.
I just want to
okay.
mention it for clarity. Thank you very much for emphasizing on this issue, because you mentioned for me what I think it is a central topic in this whole discussion: fear. Fear is a central issue. Fear is the result, or if you will, the reason why a lot of things have not been achieved by black men. The fear we have in following our dream also is the one major reason why a lot of things has transpired in our life without us understanding how to handle it. And as a matter of fact, I would like to add to the point that the fear which a lot of people have that if Biafrans go out there and defend themselves, that they will die, is absurd. It's absurd in two ways, because life on itself is absurd from the point of view of existential philosophy. You only make meaning in life by defining life. I mean, by giving it your own meaning. And death has been, a central aspect of life. Life has no meaning if there is no death. And I want to say this: inasmuch as the Biafrans sit down there and watch the Fulani as they encroach their land, rape women, kill men, embalm pregnancy women, that is no life.
Actually,
that is no life anymore. The point is that a lot of people will ask you, do you want to go to war? But when all these things are transparent, are we not already in war? So I would like to end this topic by saying that it is not necessarily your gentleness or your sense of benevolence, if you will, that makes you a good human being, but the sense of repellent. I mean, being able to repel any type of force that comes to you, that you are confronted with, challenge it. So, is it not time that there should be less discussion, less preaching, less talking, but then more action?
Yeah, like you did say. He said most times I usually like to refer back to the Bible or to the scripture, because I am also a Christian, an ardent one for that matter. The Bible said that there is a time and season on this planet Earth for everything. A time to be born, even a time to fool around, a time to recognize the extent of your foolery and stand awake. That time of awakeness, that time of seriousness in the life of Biafrans. Please, I make to say it. Mazi Nnamdi Kanu had flogged it, he has nailed it, he has said it. Oftentimes, it looks like he's falling into deaf ears. But the truth of the matter in this whole issue remains that during the program, so many of Biafrans who were talking about were not aware of circumstances around them. So many of them were conscripted to come and begin to fight. It's only when you come to the battlefield, then you will be told what is happening. We want to become our own. We want to have Biafra of our own and the rest of them. The 1967 to 1970 civil war with Nigeria and Biafra is not as those days. It's not as today, because today almost every average born Biafran is aware of circumstances around him or her. The little bunch of them you can see over there at home that are docile and do not know, do not care to know, happens to be the few number of persons who perhaps may think that they have what it takes to get food on their table. They have their shops, they have their business still ongoing, because it has not been affected by several policies and implementation from this same harsh, horrendous government. But I am telling you that that time of reprisal is here. That time of revenge is here. That time of action. There is this Igbo adage that says, "Ma nwata etoru ga-etoru jụọ ihe gburu nna ya, ihe gburu nna ya egbuo ya." But don't forget, after 1970, that the war ended, they said no victory, no vanquish. Today, so many of us were just being born as the war is ending, or
after the war.
So many of us have become scholars, engineers, in different fields of life. And we have also studied, we have also researched, we have also found out so that let it not be like as if we did not ask. We have asked, we have found out, and we now know. We are now aware of circumstances around us. And the time is coming. It's not is coming. The time is already here with us.
This is essentially what I want to understand. I want you to tell the viewers, our viewers, the issue of fear, as I've stated, seems to be a problem. It's like there are just very few people that know what it means. I mean, to be involved in Biafran agitation. A lot of people, if you discuss the issue of Biafran, there seems to be a bit scared, fear.
Okay, my brother, what you actually will have to understand is, even when Christ, the Savior of the world, came, there were a lot of revelations preceding to his coming. There were a lot of events, visions, dreams, prophecies about his coming. When he eventually came, not even so many people, his cousins and most of them, do not believe. Don't also forget that somebody like John the Baptist, that announced the coming of Jesus, at the time sent a message to Jesus when he was dead, to go and ask him, are you sure you are that same Savior we are talking about? Or are we yet to expect another one? This was somebody under the leading of the Holy Spirit declared that he is coming, that he is being born, and even the sandals on his legs that he cannot be able to unbuckle. Now, having said that, having experienced all this, when Christ now came, just because he went through a kind of temptation, being heard, he started quivering. What from what you explained? Sorry, I just
yes, I would like to just go straight on this issue of fear, because I think I want to say this. I asked this question because
I am actually about to answer you. I only used an instance by talking about the Lord Jesus Christ.
The issue is that to be free, to get freedom, you don't just get freedom served on a golden plate. Mm-hmm. Nobody on earth has ever become free by means of being apologetic. You know what I'm saying? Through his benevolence manner. You don't just get freedom, is fought. You fight for it before you obtain it. And this involves being aggressive. And this involves losing the sense of fear. And this seems to have been a big problem among the Biafran agitators, or among the Biafrans, that there's so much think of what passed or what transpired in 1967 to 1970. They use it as a basis to argue against agitating for Biafra. Now, how can we overcome this? Because it's a big issue.
Okay.
The issue of fear. Nnamdi Kanu has said a lot of things. Nnamdi Kanu has made a lot of emphasis. Nnamdi Kanu has created awareness to the extent that it's also unimaginable. I just don't understand that an able young man from the Biafra land is not a member of the IPOB, is not involved in the Biafran agitation. But it is a case, as the case may be, because of the issue of fear.
Okay. What you actually need to understand that has to do with Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. Mazi Nnamdi Kanu has done tremendously. He has done even, like my father used to say, much more than Napoleon the Great. Nnamdi Kanu is a great guy. If he has not opened the eyes of so many, more than millions, you can't or they are uncountable. He has opened their eyes. If your eyes is not open in this way, your eyes is open in another way. If your eyes is not open in the area of for you to demand for freedom, for you to be aware of who you are, nobody can take it. This generation, in this generation, and even in the next generation to come, I'm not sure anybody, any living or dead, can take it away from Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. He's a great guy, and I put up my thumb up for him anytime, any day. Whether Biafra or not, I put up my thumbs for him. What Nnamdi Kanu has done in this our century, the lives of Sunday Nwodo and Tony Nnadi and the rest of them, they can never merge it. The issue that has to do with fear. Our people say, Nanya ada yara mbabu, adeji maka mbabu yara oku. Adeji maka mbabu yara oku. The Igbo clan understands this proverb very well. But there's been a lot of infiltration. You see, sometimes when Nnamdi is saying, go and check the life of those quavering check their DNA, check their history, you will find out that there is a mix-up somewhere. There's a mix-up somewhere that could bring about, you know, the way and the manner with which they behave. An average Igbo man is resilient. An average Igbo man, he entertains this fear at home. He comes out and try to be villain, try to be brave. We know how to venture, even where people say there is no way.
So, what you are saying is that those, what you are telling to those out there is that they should come out and join the agitation.
Of course.
And they should not, because of those who have been killed, stop the agitation, because Agaye Jimbabu Lararo. We want to end this thing this way. And thank you very much, Mazi, Emeka, Duru. Chineke gozie gị.
Thank you. Thank you.